tonight we are going to do chapter 7.4 notes, division properties of exponents, and I've split this up into two parts. And the first one is going to be if the exponents have the same base. So if they do have the same base, here's the property, and it just says that you need to subtract the exponents. And it gives you some examples. 2 to the 6th divided by 2 squared. 6 minus 2 is 4, so it's 2 to the 4th. And same thing here, x to the 4th divided by x to the 7th. 4 minus 7. You always do top exponent minus bottom exponent. And if you get a negative, you put it in the bottom. Now there's two ways that I show this. So I'm going to use this right here. They show it that you just do top minus bottom, and if you get a negative, you stick it in the bottom. I just always tend to think of it as if I have the biggest exponent in the bottom, then the exponent is going to stay in the bottom. So I can do 7 minus 4 and get 3, but since the 7's in the bottom, then I know that x to the 3rd is going to stay down there. So it doesn't matter which way you do it, just however you need to think about it to remember it the best. And then if you have some fractions, then you still subtract. 3/4 minus 1/2 is going to be the 1/4, and s to the 1/4. Now 3/4 is bigger than 1/2, so it stays in the top. Okay? So example 1, they want us to simplify. We have the same base, so it's 5/2 minus 2. Or which one's bigger, 5/2 or 2? Well, probably 5/2. So it's going to stay in the top, and that's going to be x to the 5/2 minus x squared. I mean, not minus x squared, just minus 2. I don't know what I'm thinking. And since they're fractions, you're going to have a common denominator. So we're going to change that to 5/2 minus, and 2, if I change it to a denominator of 2, what divided by 2 is 2? 4. 4 over 2 is the same thing as 2. So we're going to keep 4 over 2, and then 5/2 minus 4/2 is 1/2. X to the 1/2. And that's your answer. And then example 2, or 1b. We've got multiple variables going on in here. And to do this, you're going to have to pay close attention to where the biggest variable is. I've got m squared and m to the 5th. Since 5 is bigger, the m's going to stay in the bottom. And since 4 is bigger on the n is going to stay in the top. So let's do, we could just do top minus bottom exponent, and then top minus bottom exponent, and we get m. But a lot of students, even students in my class, even you students watching this video, you tend to see 2 minus 5 and just think 3 for some reason, and you forget to put the negative on it. So you got to pay close attention to where the higher exponent is. So 2 minus 5 is negative 3. 4 minus 3 is 1. So m to the negative 3, n to the 1st. But the m has to go to the bottom because it has that negative exponent. So instead of m to the negative 3, it's going to be over m to the 3rd. So n over m to the 3rd. Alright? Now the way I tend to do it, I'm going to erase this really quickly, is I tend to, instead of just doing top minus bottom, I just think, well, these two m's are going to cancel 2 of these and leave 3 down there. And these 3 are going to cancel 3 of those and leave 1 up there. So I end up with n on top and m to the 3rd on the bottom. And that's how I do it so quickly, is I don't get stuck up in all the muck of trying to work it out. I just look at where the m's are and I start canceling. Alright, I've got 4 got it questions for you to do. Here you've got some fractions, and that's harder to cancel. So you might just want to do 3/4 minus 1/2. Fractions here again, so you might just want to do 7/2 minus 3. Now here you could cancel. This k cancels 1 of those and leaves 5, and this 2 cancels 2 of those and leaves 3, and you can cancel that. Now here, I didn't show you one with a negative exponent. So what I want you to do is, before you do that problem, I want you to move that a to the bottom. So it's going to be b to the 7th a to the third, a to the fifth, b squared, which is actually really going to make that a to the eighth. Oops, not 8 to the 8th, a to the 8th. There you go. And then you keep simplifying. I'm not finished. I was just trying to get you started. I did not want you to slip up on that and that mess you up. Okay, so pause it. Catch up with me on the next example. Alright, example 2, dividing numbers in scientific notation. So, population density describes the number of people per unit area. During 1 year, the population of Angola was 1.21 times 10 to the 7th people. The area of Angola is 4.81 times 10 to the 5th miles squared. What was the population density of Angola that year? So we are going to, per means divide. So we are going to divide the number of people by the unit area. So it's going to be 1.21 times 10 to the 7th divided by 4.81 times 10 to the 5th. My decimal didn't show up really well. There we go. And you can divide the tens and the numbers separately to help you out. You want to keep it in scientific notation. So let's do 1.21 divided by 4.81. That's going to give me about 0.252. And then let's do 10 to the 7th divided by 10 to the 5th. So these 5 tens cancel 5 of those, and I'm left with 2 tens. So it's times 10 squared. Now remember, with scientific notation, you have to have a ones place. So you're going to move the decimal 1 place to the right. So that's 2.52. If I make my number bigger, I have to make my exponent smaller, so that's going to be 10 to the 1st. Well, and come to think of it, there's no point in having times 10 to the 1st, because what's 2.52 times 10? It's 25.2. So that's your answer, 25.2. So to answer the question, the population density was 25.2. Okay? Now I want you to do the same thing, but this time I want you to use Honduras as your example. So you're going to divide population by area. Make sure you keep it in scientific notation. And you are actually going to be able to change it to just a number. You don't actually have to have it in scientific notation. And then pause it. Make sure you write your answer down. Make sure you have it on a sheet of paper you can hand in to me. Not on your notes, on a separate sheet of paper. Pause it, get your answer, and then catch up with me on the next slide. Alright, questions or comments? If you have any questions or comments, you can email me at richards.emily@hcboe.us. You can also chat with me on Remind 101. First, you have to sign up, so go to your text and text at Miss Rich A1B to 81010, and then you can also ask me questions on Facebook on the Classroom Facebook page, and that link is facebook.com/Miss Richards Classroom. And don't forget to participate in the discussion on that Facebook so you can get your bonus points. I'll put a discussion question up there, and I just want you to go under it and comment and reply to other people's comments and have your own discussion. Also, if you know what you're doing here and you get on the Facebook page and you see that somebody has a question you can answer, by all means, go ahead and answer it for them. Alright, so if you need me, let me know. If not, I will see you tomorrow. Make sure you have all of your guided questions answered to bring to me at the beginning of class.